Kamado Nezuko, the demon-slaying demon of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, and prodigal daughter of the king of demons and smoothest of criminals, Muzan Kibutsuji. So what have we got here today? Hello and potentially welcome back, because today we'll be tackling part 2 of our Nezuko Homebrew, featuring a barbarian subclass based on the invincible Emoto's raging ferocity. Welcome to my wife is the MC. I'm DMV and you're watching Husbando Homebrew, a show where we take pop culture to pen and paper. So today we're coming back to Nezuko to take a look at the barbarian subclass, the Path of the Blood Fiend. I think the name is fairly straightforward, and it differentiates itself quite easily compared to the other fiend-related creatures in official content. So why didn't I name her race Blood Fiend to begin with? Honestly I can't say. I suppose I just wanted to make sure the Hemotraitor race is distinct from the subclass. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the second of 2 homebrew character options based on Tanjiro's best sister, so be sure to check out part 1 to get the accompanying race. Before we begin, be sure to bite down on that like button and ignite that subscribe button with your blood. Part 1. Path of the Blood Fiend. The Path of the Blood Fiend is to channel the power of your fiendish blood within you through the ferocity of your emotions. It is a path not taken, but rather forced upon, as you make the most of the power you are cursed with and directing the intensity of your internal struggle towards your enemies. First and foremost, note that I added a racial restriction. Kind of like the Battle Rager or the Blade Singer, this subclass is intended to be used by the Hemotraitor race. But when has that ever stopped you? So the first feature you get at 3rd level is Flesh Manipulation. This one is actually an out of rage feature that helps your survivability a bit better when you're not raging. Here you can change between your current size to one size category smaller or vice versa. You can do this as an action, but the kicker is that you can use a reaction to baby size yourself when the quiet waifu decides to decapitate you. Next in the core feature of the subclass is Blood Demon Dart Exploding Blood. This one has 2 components, your blood and your rage. So when you get hit, you retaliate by bleeding all over your attacker like a badass. On your turn, if you're raging, you can use your action to pop them fools by blowing them up with your blood for 1d8 fire damage initially, then grows more powerful as you gain more barbarian levels. The damage and the damage increase might look a little strange, but this one is actually patterned after the growth rate of your extra attack and your rage damage bonus. Now, I know what you're thinking. DMV, what's the point of being a barbarian if you're not gonna use your action to whack some fools? I got you covered. If you attack someone with your blood on them, you deal an extra 1d6 fire damage whenever you hit them. This is just the beginning, but we'll look over the 6th and 10th level features in Part 2. Awakened Blood. 6th level is Protective Flame. This gives you some cleric-like abilities by burning away the ouchies in your body and Deus Exing your allies from damage. 10th level is the big one, called Awakened Form, also known as the Ara Ara Ouchie. Admittedly, I'd have preferred to have majority of these features to be 14th level, but I'll get to that later. This one allows you to rage, but harder. This is a once per long rest feature, when you rage or as a bonus action while raging, to transform into your Awakened Form. This one pretty much overclocks your barbarian, making it attack thrice before the fighters do, regaining HP before the fighters do, and regaining limbs before any of the clerics can. Yep, totally balanced. At least you need a bonus action for some of them. This also makes your blood bypass fire damage defenses like resistances and immunities, and has a chill touch-like ability to prevent regaining HP for a short time. This one does, however, come at the cost of being a bit too hungry for your own good. You'll have to make a whiz save at the start of your turns, or you start chomping on your mates. This one also takes a page from the Frenzy Barbarian, because this one has you suffer 1 level of exhaustion when your rage ends. So now that you've gotten a good chunk of the features, let's round out the subclass in Part 3. Chosen Demon. At 14th level you get the Chosen Demon. This is where even Michael Jackson thinks you're a smooth criminal, because now you are basically immune from environmental damage. This one also prevents you from outright dying to the sun if you decide to take the Hemotraitor race, and lastly, you no longer get the munchies when you enter your Ara Ara form. As much as I wanted the subclass capstone to be more bombastic, like the Awakened Demon form, I ultimately had to yield to Nezuko's narrative arc because she learns these immunities much later on, and something that isn't actually animated, so yes, I did have to spoil myself. Part 4. Your turn. By the way, I updated the Hemotrader's features to be a little less broken, like having a limit to the HP you regenerate and needing 8 hours of light activity to get a long rest while satiated. So be sure to check the description for the full and updated document. I did this to make it a little less overpowered, but I'll probably still get some "if it isn't balanced it doesn't work in 5e" comments in r/Unearthed Arcana anyway. I'm tired. By the way, that comment isn't inherently without value. It just sounded gatekeepy to me, and it didn't really give any constructive criticism on the mechanics. But I digress. Pardon the salt. Regardless, would love to hear how you'd play a character with the race and subclass down in the comments, and do let me know if you're calling the D&D police so I could be taken to dice jail. Remember to like the video on your way out if this is your thing, and remember to share this with your older brother. As always, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you for making it to the end of the video. This has been my wife is the MC. I'm DMV, and I'll see you in the next Husbando Homebrew.